Alhamdulillah. Last year, a 17-year-old came to my office for what I thought was a routine follow-up. But as soon as I closed the door, he literally broke down. Doc, I need to get married. The pressure is way too much, and I'm scared. I'm going to commit haram any day now. I've not only heard this before, but I've experienced it. So I ask him, have you considered getting married early? He responds passionately, that would be great, and it would help me focus. But my parents, they said, no way. They said I have to finish school first and then get a job. That's at least 5 to 6 years away. There's no way I'm going to make it. I want to honor them, I really do, but they just don't understand. I'm literally falling apart. How do I choose between obeying them and protecting my deen? So tonight we're talking about one of the hardest tests that Muslim teens face. What do you do when your parents don't understand you, when honoring them feels like erasing a part of yourself? But the cool thing is that the Quran addresses this exact tension directly in Surat Luqman, and the answer might surprise you. So let's be honest about what this actually looks like. Your parents, they grew up in a different world, maybe a different country, definitely a different generation. And the Islam that they practiced there, it worked for them. But you're here in the West navigating a completely different reality. They tell you, just pray and everything will be fine, just fast. And these are good things. This is good advice. But you're dealing with stress and anxiety that they don't believe in and they've never lived through. And when you try to explain, they hear disrespect, they hear you rejecting Islam, they hear you becoming too American. But you're not rejecting Islam. You're trying to figure out how to be Muslim and yourself at the same time. You're not being ungrateful. You're just suffocating under expectations that don't fit where you're growing up. So let's get to Surat Luqman, because Allah addresses this exact tension between honoring parents and maintaining your own identity. Surat Luqman is named after Luqman the wise, not a prophet, but a righteous man known for his wisdom. And in this surah, Allah tells us about the advice Luqman gave to his son. It starts with beautiful guidance in ayah number 13, where he says to his son, وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. And remember when Luqman said to his son while advising him, O my son, do not associate anything with Allah. No doubt associating others with Him is truly the worst of all sins. And then in the next two ayat, something unexpected. وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيْكَ إِلَيَّ الْمَصِيرُ. And we have commanded people to honor their parents. Your mother bore you through hardship after hardship, and your weaning, it took 2 years, so be grateful to me and to your parents. And to me is the final return. Beautiful, clear. Honor your parents, especially your mother. Look at what she went through for you. And then ayah 15 drops, and it's different. وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا وَاتَّبِعْ سَبِيلَ مَنْ أَنَابَ إِلَيَّ. But if they pressure you to associate with me what you have no knowledge of, do not obey them. Yet still keep their company with kindness and follow the way of those who turn to me in devotion. So let's break this down from the tafsir. If there is a contradiction between your want and the want of your parents, as long as it's not disobedience, as long as they're asking you to do something that is not disobedience to Allah, then the want of your parents comes first, and you should be kind to them and fulfill their rights. But if a parent is asking you to do something that will harm you, then you do not obey them. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ, he said in the authentic hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, إِنَّمَا الطَّاعَةُ فِي الْمَعْرُوفِ, that obedience is only in that which is known to be good. Furthermore, he said in the very famous hadith, لا ضرر ولا ضرار, there is no harming yourself or causing harm to others. So obeying your parents in something that will cause harm to you or put your deen at risk is not a good deed. So to summarize, first, honor your parents, be grateful to them, recognize their sacrifice. This is non-negotiable. But if they ask you to do something that you know will harm you, you do not obey them. But here's the part that people miss. Even when you don't obey them, Allah still says, keep their company with kindness. The Quran is giving you permission to say no, while still saying it with love and respect. What this does not mean is, my parents said no, so I'll just do it anyways and I'll quote Surat Luqman at them. No, this isn't a free pass. This is a last resort, and there is a process, an Islamic process that you have to follow first before you go against them. So what is that process? The first point, you have to make dua, extensive dua. And I really mean make dua, not just once, not just twice. If it takes days, if it takes weeks, if it takes months, you make dua. You ask Allah to guide you and your parents. You ask Allah to open their hearts to what you're talking about, what you're trying to do. And you ask Him to show you if you're wrong. Am I wrong, O Allah? If so, show me that. Guide my heart. Secondly, you're going to consult knowledgeable, righteous people. I'm not talking about your friends who are just going to agree with you. I'm not talking about random people on the internet. I'm not talking about AI. You're going to talk to scholars who truly understand the deen, those that are widely respected. You're going to talk to elders in the community who have lived life. You're going to talk to people who will tell you the hard truth, not just tell you what you want to hear. And to keep it real, we can all find a random scholar online who validates what you want to hear. And you can cherry pick opinions from fringe scholarly opinions. But you know as well as I do that that isn't intellectual honesty. Listen, I know it can be hard, but I also believe in you, and I know that you want to do the right thing. So let's keep it honest, okay? Thirdly, you need to examine your intentions. Are you absolutely sure that this want of yours is about protecting your deen? Or is it about wanting things your own way, not wanting to be uncomfortable, thinking you know better because you read something online or watched some video? Your nafs, your ego, is a skilled deceiver. In fact, this is exactly what Allah refers to in Surah Al-Anfal when He says, وَإِذْ زَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُم, that when the shaitan, he beautified their deeds for them. The shaitan will come and validate you. He'll beautify. He'll say, oh, this is perfect. This is obedience. In the end, it's just deception. So you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Fourthly, try every respected avenue to persuade them. Involve family mediators, involve your imam, involve people your parents respect. Give it time. Parents sometimes are going to need months to process some big decision. Sometimes they need to see your maturity through actions, not words. Be patient. Remember that rushing is from the shaitan. As our beloved Prophet ﷺ, he taught us, Al-inatu min Allahi wal-ajalatu min ash-shaytan, that calm and composure is from Allah, but rushing is from the shaitan. So only after all of this, and I truly mean honestly exhausting all of these options, only then do you consider moving forward despite their objections. And even then, you do it with their honor completely intact. This isn't about rebellion. It's about recognizing that obedience to Allah comes first. And sometimes protecting your deen requires a difficult decision. Your parents aren't infallible. They're human. They're doing the best with what they know. That doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your soul to please them, but it also doesn't mean you get to skip the hard work of respectful persuasion first. Okay, so what does this mean for you practically? You can honor your parents without obeying every demand, but you have to do the work first. They refuse to allow you to marry someone with deen, but from a different background. You can respectfully decline while still valuing their input, but only after you've involved mediators and given the process time. Give your parents time. They don't believe in mental health treatment. You can get help while still being kind to them. But first show them the research. Involve trusted people. Involve your doctor. Help them understand. They're pressuring you to do something cultural that isn't allowed in Islam. You can set the boundaries while still respecting their ideas, but do it with wisdom and consultation, not rebellion. Boundaries aren't disrespect. They're self-preservation. But the way you establish them matters. The Quranic model teaches us you don't have to cut your parents off. You don't have to fight. You keep their company in the best way with kindness, with patience, with respect, but you don't erase yourself in the process. The young man in my office, I asked him, have you made dua about this consistently? Have you involved your imam? Have you shown your parents financial stability and that you're mature for this decision? He had done some of this, but not all of it. So I said to him, before you make any decision, exhaust every respectful avenue, involve trusted family, friends, give it time. Show your parents through actions, not words, that you can handle this responsibility. Make them part of the process. He did. It took him a few months, but his parents finally agreed because he proved himself and involved the right people to mediate. That's the process Surat Luqman is teaching. Respect boundaries, but don't erase yourself. And always, always do the hard work of persuasion first. He needed permission to breathe, and Surat Luqman gave him that, along with a roadmap for how to do it right. So here's your reflection for tonight. What's one thing your parents expect of you that feels like an obstacle to your relationship with Allah? Not the small stuff. They want me to clean my room. No. I mean the big stuff, the soul stuff. And here's the hard question. Are you actually disobeying Allah by setting that boundary? But instead, if you've been conditioned to believe that honoring parents means never saying no, then tonight Surat Luqman is giving you permission. You can still be a good Muslim and have boundaries. You can love your parents and still choose differently. You can honor them and still honor yourself. But, and this is important, so extremely important, don't take this lightly. Your parents have years of life experience ahead of you. They have seen so much of what you haven't seen, and it is no small thing to go against their wishes. Remember that no one, and I mean this, no one in the world will ever love you or care for you more than your parents. So tread with caution in this area. Yes, the Quran teaches us that sometimes we can disagree with our parents and go a different direction. But this should be taken only after a lot of soul searching and reaching out for advice from trustworthy, righteous Muslims who can help you make the best decision. Inshallah, tomorrow night, being Muslim in non-Muslim spaces, the story of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam in Egypt and how to stay true to yourself when you're the only one. Drop a dua in the comments if tonight's message was what you needed to hear. Extended reflection and journaling prompts are in the daily email, link in the description. As always, you are not a bad child for having boundaries or seeing the world in a different way than your parents. You're just becoming your own person, and that's exactly what Allah designed you to do. But do it with wisdom, consultation, respect, and love. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.